Today we are going to cook a 5-meal Moroccan lamb tagine that you would serve with couscous. On the next slide you will see the ingredients, so take a screenshot for your shopping list. We're going to start by prepping the half lamb's leg. We're going to need to cut the bone out of the centre and then take the fat off and cut the meat into chunks. We will be using 3 knives, a bowl, a chopping board, and then obviously we've got the lamb itself. The 3 knives are a sharp sabatier knife for cutting the meat. Then we've got a long thin knife by Global. This is really useful because you can use it to cut around the bone. And then obviously we've got our knife sharpener because we need to make sure everything is sharp throughout the process. Once you have cut back the meat and exposed the bone, you want to use your thin knife, if you've got one preferably, to cut around the bone, trying to keep as close to the bone itself so as not to waste any meat, or at least cut it thinly. It's best to have everything intact for the chunking. Let's cut this piece off and we can put that to one side to chunk up later. We're also going to separate this chunk here, so to make it easier we're going to cut it off straight through and separate that chunk for chunking later. There you go. Now, where you've got the bone piece separate, you just want to cut underneath the underside of the bone, and there you go. That is your separated bone, and it's ready to go into the stew. Now we need to trim all the fat off the chunks of meat, ready for chopping them up. As you can see, with the outside of the fat, it's quite easy to just get your finger underneath it and just peel it off. That does expose a lot of the best quality meat that you're going to be using. As you can see here, we're just pulling off the sinew and exposing the nice lean meat that we're going to be using for chunking. This is what you're looking for. I'll do this for the rest of the pieces and you can join me back. As you can see, we've separated the meat from the fat. And we've also cleaned our equipment up now, ready to chunk the meat up. There we go. That's all of the meat chunked up into inch by inch approximate chunks, ready to go in the tagine. For the veg, we're using 2 small sweet potatoes, 3 small to medium onions, and then 2 cloves of garlic. We've already prepared the other items, and we're just going to prepare one of each to show you how we prep them. We're going to start with the sweet potato. For this you'll need a peeler and a knife. What we're going to do is start by just peeling the outside of the potato, ready to chop it up. So you want to take your potato and you want to lay it down on the flattest edge that you can find and cut it into half. Now, depending on the size of your potato, you may need to cut these halves into halves or even threes. You want to chop the potato into approximate centimetre by centimetre cubes. It won't always be possible, but you've got to just work roughly. clear some space, and now we're going to move on to the onion. So with the onion you just want to top and tail, it's very simple, and then you just need to peel off the outer layer. Once you've peeled your onion, you want to slice it into half circles, and lay these and break these circles up into each individual layer, which makes it a lot easier to kind of mix around when you're cooking. For the garlic, very similar to the onion, top and tail it, and peel off the outside layer. Now you can either crush the garlic in a crusher, or you can slice it finely into small pieces. You can see that we've got all of the ingredients collected up together in the various ways that we need to chop them up, ready for cooking. A good 10 minutes before you start cooking, or earlier, you want to preheat the oven to 160 degrees fan or 180 degrees without, gas mark 4. Now you want to preheat the oil in a big pan to very hot, high temperature, ready to sear off the lamb and the onions and the garlic. This here is the cumin, coriander, chili powder and cinnamon all mixed together. Now that this pan is very hot, you can see the oil is starting to smoke. You're going to add the lamb. That's going to start to sear very quickly. You're going to start to see that sizzle away. Quickly then we'll just add in the garlic, followed by the onions. Now you want to vigorously mix this around, trying to coat everything in the oil while also maintaining the heat on the pan to start really searing off the meat. You'll start to see it catching colour very quickly. You've got to be careful not to burn it. As you can see, we've started to get some colour on the meat, so what we're going to do is sprinkle over our spice mixture and mix that thoroughly. And then fry it for another couple minutes. Once you've got a really strong colour and the aroma is really strong, you want to take it off the heat, ready to add the next ingredient. Right, so we've taken it off the heat and we're ready to add the other ingredients. We're going to be adding the water, the chickpeas, the honey and the tomato. You also want to sprinkle over the lamb stock cube over the top of the pan. Now mix this together and bring it up to a simmer. This is all mixed together now and we're up to a simmer. You want to simmer this for a couple of minutes before you add the bone and put it in the oven. Cooking away nicely. Now we can add the bone, pop it in the middle, and then we can put the lid on. And once we've got the lid on, we can pop it in the oven. We're going to put it in the oven for an hour at the temperatures we talked about. So this has just come out of the oven. It's an hour on. You can see that it's reduced down a lot, and a lot of the meat is starting to come off the bone. It's really starting to come together. At this point we want to add the sweet potato, the apricots, and then we've also got a little bit of flaky salt and pepper in a bowl that we're just going to sprinkle over the top. Now you want to mix all of this together and try and make sure that all of the sweet potato is at least half submerged so that it cooks properly and absorbs a lot of the juice from the sauce. Now that's all mixed together, we're going to put the lid back on and we're going to put it back in the oven for another hour. Here we go, this has just come out of the oven after an hour and it's ready to serve. We usually serve the tagine with couscous mixed with pomegranate seeds and spring onions, but you could use rice. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Please leave a like and subscribe for more. Also leave any comments of anything you'd like me to cook next time.